John was the man everyone envied. He was only 35, yet his success was the kind that most people spent their entire lives chasing. A billion-dollar company, luxurious vacations in private jets, and a mansion so vast that his footsteps echoed when he walked. Every magazine cover called him a genius, a self-made millionaire, the very definition of success. But what no one knew was that John was lonely. The kind of loneliness that crept into his bones at night, gnawing at him in the quiet hours when the cameras were off, and the applause had faded. It hadn't always been this way. John had started small, just like most of us. Born in a tiny apartment, where the walls were thin, and privacy was non-existent, he had grown up dreaming of wealth. He watched his parents argue endlessly over money. Bills unpaid. Dreams deferred. John promised himself he would escape that life, no matter the cost. He worked harder than anyone else, taking 2 jobs while studying for his degree. Weekends were a luxury he couldn't afford. Sleep was a rare indulgence. But when his startup idea finally took off, it all seemed worth it. Investors poured in millions, his name trended on social media, and within 5 years, John had built an empire. At first, he felt invincible. The new car smell of his first sports car. The thrill of buying a house that overlooked the ocean. The power that came with being able to say, "I can afford anything." It was intoxicating. But then something started to shift. The adrenaline rush he felt after each success didn't last as long. The celebrations grew shorter. The smiles on his employees' faces seemed more forced. Even his closest friends seemed to drift away. John told himself it was just part of the process. After all, greatness came with sacrifice, didn't it? One night, John hosted a massive party to celebrate his latest achievement, acquiring a rival company. The champagne flowed, the music blared, and hundreds of people filled his mansion. But as John stood on the balcony overlooking the crowd, he realized something strange. Not a single face in that room felt familiar. He scanned the crowd for someone, anyone, he truly cared about, but there was no one. His parents had stopped coming to his events years ago. His college friends had stopped answering his calls. Even the people he once considered close were nowhere to be seen. That night, after the party ended and the house fell silent again, John sat by himself in his massive, empty living room. The silence was deafening. His phone buzzed, an automated notification from his bank about another 7-figure deposit. But instead of feeling pride, John felt nothing. It was just another number on a screen. A few weeks later, John's body forced him to stop. Years of stress and neglect caught up to him when he collapsed during a meeting. He woke up in a sterile hospital room, his chest aching and his mind clouded with fear. The doctor told him he'd narrowly avoided a heart attack. Stress, overwork, and a poor lifestyle had brought him to the brink. As John lay in that hospital bed, staring at the white ceiling, a single question echoed in his mind. If I died today, would anyone even care? His company would move on. His employees would find new jobs. The people who toasted to his success at parties would barely remember his name. And what was worse, John realized he hadn't lived a single day truly for himself. After he was discharged, John made a promise to himself. He would change. He started small. His first call was to his parents. There was an awkward silence when his mother picked up. They hadn't spoken in over a year. But by the end of the conversation, John felt something he hadn't felt in years: connection. Over the next few months, John sold his massive mansion and moved into a simpler home closer to his family. He started having dinners with them every week, sharing stories and laughter. He reached out to old friends, apologizing for the times he had been absent. Some welcomed him back, others had moved on. But John didn't give up. He also found purpose beyond his business. John began mentoring young entrepreneurs, sharing not just his strategies for success but also his mistakes and the lessons he had learned. He started volunteering at a shelter, connecting with people who reminded him of where he'd come from. For the first time in years, John felt alive, not because of the money in his account but because of the meaning in his days. So, what can we learn from John's story? Yes, money is important. It gives us stability, provides for our needs, and offers opportunities. Without it, life can be incredibly challenging. But once your basic needs are met, money becomes less of a driver of happiness. It's not the size of your bank account that brings fulfillment, it's the richness of your relationships, the depth of your purpose, and the peace in your heart. Happiness is found in the moments money can't buy, the laughter of a loved one, the satisfaction of pursuing a passion, the the stillness of a mind free from stress. It's about finding balance. Money is a tool, not the destination. Use it to create memories, to strengthen bonds, to chase your dreams, but don't let it consume you. If you've ever found yourself chasing wealth at the expense of everything else, pause and ask yourself, what am I really chasing? Success isn't measured by what you own but by the life you build. A life filled with love, purpose, and gratitude. So today, take a moment to reflect. Call someone you care about. Do something that feeds your soul. And remember, the best things in life aren't things, they're the moments, the people, and the experiences that make life truly worth living.